Hello everyone, Glenda Mollet here, and welcome to my craft room this morning. We are going to create a card that has a secret in it. I'm just getting my computer set up. Oop, I lost that. Okay, I was recently watching a video by Patty Bennett, and she showed me a secret that blew my mind, to say the least. Excuse me. So this is the card that we're going to make. Oh, wait. I got to put you on my desk view. There we go. Okay. So this is the card we're going to make. Let me get this organized a bit here for you so you can see. There we go. Okay. So we're going to make this card. Now you're probably thinking that these are inlaid pieces, or I've done something funky with the embossing folder. No, I did not. The secret of this card is the Pattern Party designer paper. Yep, designer paper. And if you look really close, you can see that it's embossed. And you're probably wondering, like, how the heck did she get that embossed like that? Well, let me tell you. In our annual catalog, on page 171, this is the hostess rewards page. So these things are available to anyone that has an order of at least $200. But you don't have to do it yourself. You can do it as a party. There's numerous ways to get it. But down here at the bottom, there is the Pattern Party designer paper. It's huge. You get 48 sheets. So all of the ones you see here, you get 4 of each sheet. So it's a lot of paper. And here's what it looks like. So it's black and white on one side and colored on the other side. So if you don't want the colored pattern, you can use the black and white one. But there is, let me get a sheet of it out here for you, this one. Now, this one is awesome gingham on the other side, buffalo plaid. So I was using this. I didn't flip it over. Then when I saw Patty's video, I thought, oh, maybe I should check that out, because the pattern on this, good morning, Janet. The pattern on this sheet coordinates with the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. It does. I know. Blow your mind or what? It is really cool. And they've done it so that the pattern is basically an embossing folder wide. So I look at my pattern. So here's the big flower here. And I just have to flip my embossing folder upside down. Make sure that you have the Stampin' Up image facing you, because then you'll get the image embossed, not debossed, and it won't line up the other way. Then you just line it up with the pattern in the embossing folder like this. Now it takes a couple of seconds to get it all lined up, but look at that. Can you tell? The darker areas are the pattern on the paper. So here's the pattern, and these line up perfectly with the embossing folder. Right? Who knew? I didn't know. And we've had this out since, well, demonstrators have had access since last April. So while you're looking at the card, I forgot to get my machine, so hang on. Okay, so here we go. Going to run this through, just make sure that it didn't move when I put it down, and it did. It moved just a tiny bit. So you want to make sure that you get it lined up exactly, and it's perfect. It lines up absolutely perfectly. Now this Pretty Flowers embossing folder is a thin one, so to run to run it through your machine, your sandwich is your base plate, and then a clear plate, your embossing folder hinge first into the machine, and then another clear plate on top of it. You don't use the specialty plate, this one, because it's too thick. Well, it's too thin actually. So you're using, come on, get through the machine. There we go. There we go. You're using two clear plates instead of the one specialty plate. Oh, going through. There we go. Now wait till you see the magic of this. Let me get my machine put back to die cutting because I'm going to have. Oops, sorry. That was an avalanche. Okay, so now here's the embossing folder. Open it up and look at that. Embossed absolutely perfectly. And it looks like you've done some funky coloring with the embossing folder when all you did was run the embossing folder through the machine with a piece of the designer paper on it. Ha! A secret. Okay, so after that, the rest of the card is really easy. I'm using, hang on, let me get it out here. Crushed curry base because the paper is crushed curry. 5 1/4 by 4 basic white for inside. And I will show you the inside. So I'm using the new Eden's Garden bundle, and that's available starting today. 5 1/4 by 4 basic black for the front, and then I'm going to layer the designer paper on there. And I have a piece of basic white that is 3 by 3 1/4 to stamp the image on. This I'm going to use the Eden's dies to die cut this wonderful edging. Now, last Friday during my collaboration, yes, it does look like old fabric that used to be on couches, but much, much better. So last Friday during my collaboration, I so wanted to put this on my card, but my viewers wouldn't let me, so today we're using it. This is a piece of basic white that is 1 1/2 by 4 1/2, and I'm going to do the sentiment on that. Then here's another piece of the designer paper. So this one I used the back side of this. This one I'm just going to use one of the other patterns from there. And then I have about 26 inches of black twine. And this one, the envelope is the dots. So I've just added a row of the images that I stamped on the inside. But the one I'm doing now, it's a different envelope because I made these out of the free celebration paper, so I might as well use them. And I'm going to add some color to it, if I remember. And then the, what are they called? Elegant faceted gems that I forgot to get out. Man, I'm not prepared at all. Okay, well, I need that. Now, what I'm using is the hand-penned bundle, the stamp set, and then the dies. And I'll need this one to die cut the flower. And then I'm using the Eden's Garden bundle. I'm using this image for the inside, this image for the sentiment, and then the dies. So I'm going to use the edge die and the sentiment die. Okay. Oh, let's get some stamping done here. Pull the sleeves up. Yay! Nothing I like better than stamping, especially first thing in the morning. Get your day off set off absolutely perfectly. There we go. And I'm just inking up in Memento. Then I'm going to stamp it a color with my Stampin' Blends. And I'm using Pale Papaya, Mint Macaron with just a touch of of light Calypso coral. Okay, so I'll just stamp this. So it's November the 2nd, and the starter kit promotion started today, and you will save. Like you get $165 worth of products for $100. No shipping. And depending on which province you're in Canada, it's it can be no tax either. So that's happening today. Eden's Garden is released today and available to order. Demonstrators have had access to it for a month now, which is one of the perks when you get your starter kit. I call it the Happy Shopper Kit because not everybody wants to be a demonstrator, and that's okay too. Okay, I'm going to run this through my machine. And my monthly tutorials, no, hang on. My monthly tutorial subscription is now open till the end of the year. And you can, for $10 a month, you can enjoy 4 exclusive video tutorials each month, and you're welcome to join us for the online class. The class consists of 3 of the video tutorials, and then there's the one exclusive one that only my subscriber people get. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out with this one. Now this piece of black is, where's my measurements? Uh-oh, don't know. 1 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I've given myself a 1/2 inch to play. I'm just going to see if I can kind of get this. I'm going to have to cut some of it off anyways. I'm going to keep it right down to the bottom on here and have all that area to tuck underneath the designer paper. So I'm going to run that through. At the same time, I'm going to cut this out. Now, I'm cutting it out first because, as you can see, it's a solid die. It doesn't cut this area, but I can't cut or stamp first and then die cut because I can't see where the stamping is. So this one you have to stamp after you die cut it. But that's okay. We can do that. Okay. There we go. Those pieces cut out. Pop them out of the dies. Pokey tool. Just have to get it started. It comes out really easily. There we go. There's one. And this one. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so we have those done. Now I have to do some coloring. So I'm going to start with light pale papaya and get a good base on here. The biggest hint I can tell you if you're coloring with our Stampin' Blends is to make sure you get a good base coat on the bottom and then work with it while the ink is active. So you don't want to do too big of an area or your ink will dry and then it won't blend properly. So you need to have it coming through the back like that. Now I've got my dark, and I'm just adding some highlights in or lowlights in there. And then I have light Calypso coral, and I'm just going to go in and do some adding of little flicks of color just to make it a little bit, add a little bit more interest to the flower. You can mix your colors like this. You don't have to use just the combo that has the same name. Oh, just found a sequin from when I was doing my shaker card last night. They get everywhere, those sequins. So I uploaded the shaker card tutorial to my YouTube channel, and it's available there for anybody that wants to go and watch it. All right, we're getting there. Now put a layer on. Now I'm going back over just to make sure I got lots of ink and it's still active. Go in with my dark pale papaya. Get the low lights in there. And then go in with my light calypso coral just to add a little bit of color right in the center of those petals. And then go back over the whole thing with the light pale papaya, just so it blends everything together. And there you go. That's how easy that is to get proper coloring. Now, the other flower, maybe I'll do something a little different with this one. I'm going to do the dark pale papaya. I'm not even going to use the light because you don't have to if you don't want to. You can lay your base coat down with the dark and then add the other color in there, and I'll use the light calypso coral just to add color around the center. And pay attention to where those hash lines are that the artist have put in there. Now I'm going to grab my dark calypso coral and just add some dots of color in the center. And go back with the dark pale papaya and just blend it all in. There we go. So that's the flowers done. And this one, put my lids on. Now I'm going to use mint macaron for the leaves. And a tip for opening these is just push. It's got 3 dots on either side. Just push on them and they come off. If you do what I did, which you're not supposed to do, is just reef on it, and there's some of the liquid in that lid, it will go everywhere. Now the liquid coming out of the markers is perfectly normal. It's just some of the alcohol base coming out. So I'm doing, once again, I'm laying my base coat on here like this. And you probably noticed that I die cut this before I color it, and I always do that. Well, not always. Whenever I remember, I do that because you never know when you're going to mess up the die cutting. And I hate spending time coloring something and then having to dispose of it because the die cutting went wrong. Because it does. Okay, I'm just going in with my dark mint macaron. And we'll go back over the whole thing just to blend it in. Like that. Now this is the stem. Have to be really careful when doing the stems. I'm not pushing down on the pen. I'm just lightly running it across the top so that it gets very little ink, because if it gets lots of ink, it will run, because they're designed to run and blend into the cardstock. And you don't want to have great big huge stems. Okay, and add some of the dark on here. Blend it all together. And I'm just going to add a little bit more color to the stems, because you can always add it afterward. You can't take it away. There we go. So there's our flower all colored. The only thing left to do is add some Wink of Stella, because you know my motto, card's not done until you add Wink of Stella. I'm just going to add it all over the flower heads, just like that. There we go. And maybe a line on each leaf as well. Okay, I think we have our elements all done. So now I'm going to stamp the inside one. And I'm going to use this image from Eden's Garden and Pale Papaya ink. And just run a line of these up the side of the inside, like that. See, nice and simple. And then get my blending brush and envelope, load up some ink, and just add some color to the envelope. And I'm not worried about it having those blotches on there, because that just adds extra interest. Because if you notice, the background of this paper has blotches on it as well. There we go. Just adding a little bit of color to that black and white paper. Okay, here we go. Ink's out of the way. Now we can do some assembly. I'm going to attach the embossed designer paper right to the basic black, like this, with my stamp and seal. I love the effect that this has. It just makes you want to touch the paper because it's got such texture to it. And it's all because of it, designer paper. You cannot get that type of an effect by inking your embossing folder. You can't. Because when you ink it, you ink the raised areas. So you would ink up the background. And then if you inked up this part, it would be debossed, not embossed. Okay, I'm going to put this right onto my card front. Oops, a little bit over that one. And, oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking I put my string. I did. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side because I put my string around before I put it on there. So I need this piece, and we're going to attach it to this piece. Well, that piece is extra long as well. Okay, bit of adhesive on the bottom there, and line it up here like that. Now where's that piece? And my mat, so it doesn't stick to my table. And it's going to go this way. And this is going to go on here like this. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. So just add a little bit of adhesive to the back of this. Kind of decide where I want it. I just want to, I have to cut pieces off, but I don't want to cut too much off. That'll do. Okay, add that on there. And then flip this over. Cut off the, oh, my scissors need cleaning. That off. And snip that off. So there we have that element on there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around in the center twice. Didn't leave enough. Okay, this has to be longer. And then I'm going to tie it right in the corner. So let me turn this around. It's a little bit more awkward having adhesive on the back of that, but it's okay, it will work. This way it won't, it's not going to move on me. Oops, you're not going to be able to see that. There we go. So I want to make sure it's right over at the side because I've got the sentiment to put on there yet. And tie a bow. Maybe we're going to tie a bow. Apparently I'm bow challenged this morning. It's okay. Okay, so then when you get your bow tied the way you want it, then you flip the, untwist the loops if they're twisted, and just give it a good pull till they remain untwisted, and then tighten your bow up. Like that. Now I'm going to make sure that this is straight on here. And because it's a little loose, I'm just going to pull it up like that and get a piece of my tear and tape. And just put the tear and tape on there. And what that does is it just tightens it up because I already had my adhesive on there. Now I'm going to get 2 more pieces because I like putting this over top of the string or the twine so it doesn't move on me. Okay, that's going to be in the wrong place there. Let's move it over. There we go. Okay, so now that'll hold that. This one tightens. And take the liners off. And I'm going to take the liner off this one too. It'll just help to keep the center done. There we go. And then this goes onto my card front like this. There we are. I'll put this back where I need it for my adhesive. So there, we've got most of it done now. Now I have to stamp this. The stamp says hello there, but all I want is hello. So I'm just going to use a piece of Post-it note to mask off the areas that I don't want to get ink on. Then I'm using my Memento ink to ink up the hello, like that. And I see a little bit there. It's going to get rid of that so I don't get haloing. Remove the mask and remember to put it somewhere that is not going to be in your way. And then this, we just kind of got to guess where we're stamping it. Hi, Connie. There we are. Perfect. I didn't mess it up. Yay. Okay, this is on dimensionals on the front. We'll just get those going. Whoops. Don't need 4. bring my card front back in here. Oh, I put them in the middle and I shouldn't have. Darn. I hate it when I do that because I don't like them sitting up. I forgot the twine was there. I don't like it when it wiggles over top of the twine. So I'm just going to remove them. Of course, I had to go push them down. Sometimes you can get them up so that you can reuse them. Because you know I'm frugal with my dimensionals. That one's not. Okay, now I'm going to put a strip of dimensional material along the top and the bottom so that it floats over top of that twine. Put that on. And this one. A little bit more. You need about that much. Put that on there. All right, now this is how I like doing it. Get rid of the liners. And then move this off to the side. And this I'm going to bring right out to the edge of the card, because this is a really long sentiment. Hope that's straight. Yep, it'll do. Okay, now this is just going to go flat onto here. Kind of make it fit in there. That's a little lower than it should be up, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, now we're going to put this on here like this, kind of make it work around the hello. And I'm just going to put a bit of adhesive right there. Put this on here. Oh yeah. There we go. And then I'm going to take dimensionals and slip them underneath the top so that it stays, doesn't collapse on me. And one more over here. And then one there, but I think I'll just use a piece of that because it's not very big. On my pokey tool. Slide this underneath here like that. There we are. Oh, that's so pretty. Now I need the bling. Because you know, although there's Winky on there, card's not done until you put the bling on it. Sometimes I don't put bling on. I know, shocker, right? Not very often that I don't put bling on. One down there. Get one up here. And then I think we'll do one right there. There we go. So there's our card. Oh, haven't put the inside in yet. We will do that right now. And once we get this in, our card is done. So that designer paper is amazing stuff. And who knew that it lined up exactly with the embossing folder? I certainly didn't know. So thanks to Patty Bennett for showing me how to emboss that designer paper. And look at that. Stunning. What do you think? Good card? Now the recipe for the measurements and a link to all the supplies I used is in the, it's in the description of the video. Thanks, Connie. Just have to take a drink of tea because my throat's getting dry here. Oh, that's better. Okay, so you can find a link to the measurements and a link to the supplies that I used in the description of the video. I hope you enjoyed the card today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me. I'll just put my face up here so I can say goodbye, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stampin' Smiles, and bye for now. Oops, there we are. Bye.